My videos aim to pull up threads, see what unravels, what's revealed, and discuss it. But as I read the comments from my subscribers and engage in that discussion with them, I've come to a truth. I am a victim to my blind spots. The best analysts aren't necessarily the smartest people in the room. They're the ones who continually expand their emotional vocabulary. Intelligence alone cannot compensate for that. My video on Clea took the common viewpoints that I came across about her as being this big meanie, and I looked to challenge it based on the evidence the game provides, like all my videos so far. But the Clea analysis needed to go further. It needed to rely on understanding the philosophy of a person, their motivations, their beliefs. I had the impression that Clea was more than the clinical eldest sibling we met in the pseudo-epilogue, and as I played more of the game and met more incarnations of her, this idea became more pertinent. However, it wasn't until completing the Endless Tower and hearing her victory dialogue that it finally clicked. Clea's fight was for integrity, the right to live your own life without corruption. And all those threads I pulled at wove themselves into a new tapestry. One of the burdened grieving sibling who has unorthodox and clinical methods to express her love. It was 70 hours of gameplay when I came to that softened conclusion, but some of you got there after 15, when you first met her. You had a reference point I was missing. Your own life experiences. Perhaps of being that burdened eldest sibling. Maybe someone with parents that distanced themselves, or someone who also lost a sibling. And like many others who may not have had those experiences, the default would be to see her being cold and mean. For me, I guess I just wasn't equipped to deal with the emotional truth that was masked. This is different to the rather shorthand version of people have different experiences and people think differently to others. This is more, it feels more, I didn't fail to understand the evidence, I needed to be slapped in the face with it. I needed far more of it to bridge that gap. This, for me, is what defines strong writing and characters in a story. Those who can relate will understand immediately, while those that don't need it subtly revealed to them. Every analysis reveals the analyst's emotional framework, and it takes great effort to explore beyond what you know. What behaviours you empathise with, what motives are believable. We see this exemplified further in one of my more recent videos looking at what information you need to pay attention to make a more informed choice about the ending. In that video, I shared my own choice and the rationale behind it. I picked Verso because of how strongly I relate to Renoir as well as some other principles. Before I realised the video, I put up a poll on the community page asking my subscribers their main driver behind their choice. Was it emotional, analytical, or just their gut reaction? Now, I know gut reaction is a form of an emotional response, but I really kind of wanted to capture the immediacy. I even initially thought I was more analytical, backed up with this whole 15-minute long script of just evidence and philosophy. But the responses were becoming more and more emotionally driven, and it prompted me to look deeper. And the truth of it is, my choice was more emotional than I realised. This is not to say that some opinions are more valid than others, just because you share a similar experience. And it's not to say that those who have shared experiences will always come to the same conclusions as each other. It's just I used to think that analysis was more about that evidence and objective truth, noticing themes, structure, and contradictions. And it is, but it is, and always will be, restricted by the ability to incorporate emotional experiences. I will never fully understand every character. I cannot feel every experience. Sometimes the greatest limitation in analysis isn't intelligence, it's not recognizing those truths when they appear. And that's something I probably wouldn't have realized without the discussions we have had on this channel. If you want to keep pulling at these threads with me, make sure to subscribe, but more importantly, keep sharing your insights. It turns out I need them. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.